What's going on, Stanwell holders? This is a good article. Now, we've just experienced some unprecedented times. All right. From the time of 2020 up until now, we experienced the actual boom and bust cycle in trucking. We experienced it. And this article touches perfectly on everything that happened and it actually debunks certain theories. So let's get into it. So the first thing that this article is taking shots at is the narrative that there is a severe shortage of truck drivers. Now we can clearly see that there are people who are losing their jobs, truck companies that are go out of business, filing for bankruptcy, and these truck drivers are unable to get new jobs because there's less demand for truck drivers because there's less freight that needs to be moved. So naturally, we can see that there's no truck driver shortage. Maybe if we look at the real issue, and that's the retention problem that we have in the trucking industry, and that's these major carriers that will bring in all these new drivers and pay them very low, work them very hard, and these people end up just leaving the industry because what they were sold on was that they're going to travel, make money, experience the country, and it's going to be all great. But once you really get into the industry, you see that this is hard work. You're not coming out here to have fun. This is actually hard work. And if you're not smart, you're not eating the right food, you're not exercising, it takes a lot from the body. So without that going on, there's a lot of people who leave the industry, and that continues to push that narrative that there's a truck driver shortage. But it's actually, we need to figure out a way to pay drivers more, give them a better quality of life, better food, better truck stop, somewhere to park at, the resources that truck drivers need, and for people to really want to stay in the industry so we can provide the services that's necessary. Then the article proceeded to talk about how many trucking companies were created between the year of 2020 and 2023. In 2020, 241,000 trucking companies, for hire freight carriers were created and registered. In 2023, 475,000 were created, a 96% increase. And you see it actually tapped 500,000 in 2020, probably 2022. But this shows right here, this debunks the whole theory of a truck driver shortage because anyone can get into trucking. There's no barrier to entry. Even if you don't have a CDL, not CDLs, CDL, even if you don't have a CDL, you can go buy a truck and put a driver in it. If you have a fleet of trucks, you can just expand your fleet. So we can always adjust to the market whenever it's necessary. But some some companies, they like to push a certain narrative so they can continue to take over market share. And some people might say, "Oh, how there are companies pushing this narrative?" This is why. Major carriers are able to hire people and pay them extremely low pays. And also, I don't know if they get anything in the back end for the government, but pay people extremely low, which is a direct competition between owner operators or small fleet owners that actually try to pay their drivers a fair wage and actually run a trucking operation that's fair and legit. But that's not how things are. Then it goes into speak about the supply chain. I don't know if you guys remember, but we had a shortage in the supply chain during those times. And there was so much things that was being ordered extra because there was a lot of companies that were afraid that, because of what was going on, they wouldn't be able to meet the demand. So a lot of companies over purchased things. People were trying to overproduce. So that created a false sense of demand for truck drivers during that time. But the last part of the article is what really breaks your heart. So there was a married couple. They left the construction industry in 2020 to enter the trucking industry. And everything was going well. They bought their truck. They were doing it really big. And they were doing so good. Rates were so amazing that they bought another truck for $80,000. So they bought that truck and, things were going great. But then fuel prices shot up. Rates started coming down. Loads that they were moving for 4,500 started going for 1,900. They had kids, 4 kids. They had rent to pay. They couldn't keep up on the second truck payment, so they surrendered the truck. Then they still were struggling, so they had to get rid of their first truck. Now, I mean, the truck they had that was 80,000 now is only worth 30,000, and they have unpaid toll bills up to 15,000. And this is just the reality of the situation. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think there's a truck driver shortage? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Peace.